Welcome to Lighten Up Talk Radio with Michael and Lee. Join us with topics that wake up the connection to your soul. You can listen to us at lightenuptalkradio.com. Welcome, everybody. It is Sunday, July 22nd, and here we are again with another episode of Lighten Up Talk Radio. Good afternoon, Lee Snyder. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Michael. And I know we're all doing good. We've had a great morning this morning and a lot of conversation, and I am so ready to be right here where I'm at.
And me too. Hooray. We've had a lot of interesting cycles of messages around freedom and being free, freeing ourselves and yourself from different types of things in your life. And so we're just like, gosh, there must be something here that we need to talk about today, so we're going to roll with it and see what kinds of wonderful things unfold.
I'm ready.
I am too. Here we go. And, you know, yesterday, Lee and I, we went to an Oma gathering, and it was a healing night where Oma, if any of you out there have ever been to a trance channel, well, a dear friend of ours, Frankie Avery, who's been intuitive for many years, channels this collective energy called Oma, and she's been doing it for many, many years. I believe it's like 30 years.
That's correct.
And it's very powerful, and there's always some wonderful gift that I personally receive after each session, some awakening moment, healing moment, something. And so we came out of that last night, and it was truly phenomenal with this message of freedom, because I was released within myself from several obligations in my life that have been reoccurring. And, you know, they've been family obligations. I think I've talked about it in another show. But those obligations from family, there's a feeling of those obligations, that tendency to be obligated to things and experiences has shown up over and over again, and those things have been leaving my life. But there's this experience with releasing obligations to family, and when I say obligations, that means things that are not of service for either party. It's not like a win-win situation, or it wasn't for me. It was because I felt that there was a need there that was self-driven instead of win-win, heart-driven. And so I had a really lovely awakening on where my self-driven component was, and just had a release last night. We had some amazing affirmative moments. There were incredible affirmations about affirming freedom, and she actually brought each one of us up into the energy, like stood and sat in the chair next to her, and she helped work with us and came up with an affirmation statement for each one of us and shared it with the whole group. And Lee, we're going to have to go and write all those down, because there were about, I don't remember, maybe 15 of us there.
There was about 20. Yeah.
Was it that many? Mm-hmm. I would love to do a show where we actually go through, or maybe we pick one and share some of those affirmative statements, because every one that she went through last night I resonated with every single one of them.
So did I.
And with each one that we affirmed and released, I felt the energy within me release, and I felt lighter. And this morning, waking up to having this experience where I had a family member and we had some communication. It was just like all the obligation energy was gone. It had just completely left, and I was so grateful for it, because it is freeing me for a whole nother opening in my life.
It's interesting that you say that, and it just came to me, and it's just like a bolt of lightning just hit my head. So people that's out there listening today is my day of the bolt of lightning going through my head. so just bear with me. But I had an obligational type thing as well this morning, and I was sharing this a little bit with Michael. And when he just said that phrase about releasing yourself and getting free and all that, it just came to me. That's exactly where I was today, because I went into this real heartfelt. I felt rejection of maybe the words that I was trying to really put in order of. It was a loving thing for me, and it wasn't obviously taken that way on the other side too much. But anyway, it was like the bolt of lightning came back at me. I could describe that person's energy was a bolt of lightning. Mm-hmm. And I just put it in that perspective whenever he just said that. So that was very interesting. That now I've got it, Michael. I've got it.
Well, good, Lee. Good.
And I'm releasing that bolt of lightning, and everything's good. So there you go. But we have really been having some great conversations this morning about a lot of different things. And talking about the OMA session last night, it was just absolutely fabulous. And we have these once a month, and it's the third Saturday of each month. And we also had one on Thursday up at the Oasis Institute, and it's up in Knoxville, Tennessee. And every one of these sessions are totally different. And the one Thursday night was phenomenal at some of the things that's actually going on as far as energy-wise, earth changes. The next 3 months we're going to have a lot of things going on as far as that. And I will put this on the air that we're still going to be here after December the 21st, 2012. And I think that statement needed to be said. It's been quite amazing this year. All the people that have just come and said, "Oh, are we still going to be here?" After this date. And I think it was pretty well assured to the doubters at times about that. And we are going to be here to the point that we're actually going to be having a session, an OMA session, on that day to be able to celebrate how we're still all here. Yay.
Yay.
It's always wonderful when you know something, but you have people that's a conglomeration from the other side that can come in and say, in a humorous way, say, "Okay, guys, wake up. You got more things to think about than this. You're all going to be here." There is some earth changes that will happen, and that's okay. The month of August is going to be a very trying month for a lot of people across the whole United States. But you know what? We're still going to be here. So we can take great strides into to knowing that. And just don't have your expectations up and start thinking about negative things that's really not there to even think about anyway. So I feel the same way about the president and all that stuff. It's an illusion anyway. But the lessons about this, it was very interesting. Before we got on it, something just resonated, and Michael was just talking about freedom. That this book that I've spoken about before is called Jesus Calling, and it's Sarah Young, and we have been about 5 times already trying to get on this air, and we just keep not going on the air because there's other things that's just been coming to us today. It's amazing. And so I said to Michael, I said, "Hand me that book behind you." And I said, "I need to read this daily message here." And I opened it up, and it says, "Find freedom." It says, "Find freedom through seeking to please me above all else. You can have only one master. When you let others' expectations drive you, you scatter your energy to the winds. Your own desire to look good can also drain your energy. I am your master, and I do not drive you to be what you are not. Your presence displeases me, especially when it is in my service, and concentrate on staying close to me at all times. It is impossible to be inauthentic while you are focusing on my presence." What a wonderful reminder, I think, to all of us that is a profound statement of the day. And Michael and myself, we don't have an agenda here about what we're going to do. It's just what comes, and it's just amazing how it just falls in place.
That happened to be our third confirmation of the freedom thing this
It
morning.
was totally freedom. And, all out there that is not feeling the freedom within their own soul and their own mind, you really need to meditate on this. And just primarily, now is the time, ascended masters and all of our helpers, angels and all of our helpers that's out there, they are on, triple duty right now to get us through this energy phase of 2012 and to help us to be able to go to a greater creation within our lives and to be able to go out and do our life's purpose. And it's really time. It's time to really go into everything that you possibly have. If you have to read books, if you have to go to training sessions, if, whenever we get our phone system up here, when you call us, whatever that is, and we will always have the some type of a plan or suggestion to give to you to help you go there. I've spoken about this before. Meditation is a huge thing, and it's very important now. In both sessions we've been in this week, the OMA actually said that meditation was a very important thing to do right now, because that's how that you go into your own self and know where you're going. That goes on to the card we were talking about. We actually had these cards that we went and pulled before the session.
They actually just fell out.
They fell out.
We were going to pull them, but
that's right. They fell out.
They fell out.
Okay, that was in another time that we were supposed to start 4 times back instead of 5. Excuse me.
It's like, okay, I guess this is what our cards for today.
So instead of pulling them, they fell out. And there was 2 of them that fell out. So, we always know if there's 2 that falls out, one's for me to talk about and one's for him to talk about. So, needless to say, but before this, we went into before the show, we actually went into this meditative state that we just kind of went out. And I woke up and I saw this great big white ball up on the wall here at the house with just sparkles coming out. And what was amazing about this card is that that's actually on this card. And so we looked at this, and Michael said, "Did it look like that?" And I said, "Well, yeah, that's exactly the way it looked like. So I guess we need to talk about this." Mm-hmm. So I'm going to let Michael go with this about Go Now.
Oh, yeah. This happens to be a card from Doreen Virtue's Ascended Master deck. And it is Serapis Bay, and it is the Go Now card. So, in what we've been talking about today with freedom, I would like to suggest to any of you out there listening, as we've been doing this ourselves, to take an inventory of any obligations that you have that are keeping you from going in the direction of your heart's desire. Anything. Just get an awareness within yourself of what those obligations are, because if you're not aware of them, how are you going to make a shift? And from that awareness, you can put it out there, ask for help to release those obligations. I guarantee you it'll work. We've been going through this process now for many years, myself personally, releasing obligations in my life. And it has taken many years to really to get from the place, say 5 years ago to where I'm at now, of feeling free within myself to have room to do even what we're doing on the show today. It's taken a significant amount of change and transformation. And, change is a constant. We're always constantly changing and evolving. And so, however, there's times in our life we go through even more profound and significant and totally life-transforming change, which to me, this is what 2012 is about. And it's an opportunity to really, in a quicker sense, to let go of some of these obligations and ways that we even look at ourselves that don't support the true vision of self. We're talking about really stepping into the true vision of self, of who you and we really are as free beings, not constricted beings, because the constriction is only a creation of our minds and our experiences in this life. And so it's so important to get an awareness of in your life of what is constricting you. And if you can't see it, take some time to meditate on it. And ask a friend, ask someone that you have a connection with, a heart connection with, that can maybe shed some light for you to look at various areas to help you. Because to me, this Go Now card is about stepping and going for whatever's on your heart. Go for it. Take the first step. And in that, you're going to feel more free as well as you step forward in your life. I can tell you, just as we've gone through this show, every day, every time we do a show, I feel more free. Because I feel like I'm on my total... We were talking earlier, and I don't even remember how we got on this. But, there's a lot of side stages in our lives of different things where you do this and that. And they're all wonderful, and they're all a part of the big picture. But then there's a part of your life when you really step onto more of the main stage of your purpose and your life and all that stuff. And every time I do one of these shows, I feel like I'm getting closer to just stepping into the more main stage of my life, even though all of it's perfect and all a part of the whole thing. So this Go Now card, if you're feeling the desire, the nudging, the inner nudging of whatever kind to try something new, to get started on a dream that you've had your whole life, or something that's even become a new profound vision in your life, go for it now. I think that's what this card is all about, and it's urging us to just go for it. If you keep waiting to do something, you're never going to get there. You've got to just reach out and take step number one. And I know we've probably talked about this many times, but it is something that, as I say this, it is a reminder for me as well. You just have to take a step. Nothing ever is going to happen in your life if you don't take a step, and take an action step to make a change. You can pray, and you can do all these things, and you can do that, and it's wonderful. But when it comes down to it, you also got to take a physical step.
I can't wait to talk about this one.
Go for it.
I'm sitting here on the end of my chair
now.
I've heard a lot of people in my lifetime say, well, I'm just going to pray on it. And that, it just brought it right to the forefront. I just have to speak about this. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to just think about it. Oh, everything in the world. And there is absolutely, prayer is a wonderful thing. Absolutely. But I can also, my belief system is, you can pray about it, but you better act upon the prayer. Because you can pray all day long.
Week long.
Or years long. I can even go years long. Okay? And if you do not take the steps to go toward what you're praying about, and then take the trust and divine order to help you walk that walk of what you're desiring to have, you're only completing half of the task if you don't go to the second part of the task. The key is, wonderful, pray about it, meditate about it. But the second part is, you have to take action. And when you take action, you bring the same source that you're talking to about praying about it. You bring that same source to, part number two. It's kind of like a play. You have two different sets in a play. You have one and you have two acts. And the second act is to go to the same source and to say, now, help me act upon it. Help me get the vision and the knowing in my soul of what the purpose is and how to get there. And I will assure you that it will happen when you pursue it in that manner. the time that you're taking just to pray about it, you could already be doing it. And the key to everything is action. It's timing and action. Don't get your thoughts too far out to whereas you're wanting it now, to whereas all you're thinking about is the same thing over and over and over again every day. Well, if you've gone in and you've gone into the divine heavens and you've asked for it, and it hasn't happened to you, and you've said it 100 times, and obviously the timing is not there. Doesn't mean it's not going to be there, but it's not there. And shift yourself, shift your whole meaning, and think about what steps have I missed or I need to take to get to that point to whereas divine order is going to walk with me to get this done. Because there's always training, teaching that needs to be in your own soul. It's not easy. You didn't come down here for it to be easy. You came down here for purpose. And a lot of times it's all into how you go about setting yourself up for the destiny in your life. This destiny, when you once start walking the walk, instead of just talking the talk, it can be an amazing venture. And I just encourage everyone out there to go for really concentrating on what you want, not talking about what you don't want, because that's when it gets confusing. The universal powers likes to hear your purpose talk, not your dim view talk. So that's about as clear as I can say it. I also had this book that I picked up. I was just looking up on the shelf, and there was a saying here that was very, very interesting to me. Every change is a challenge to become who you really are. The question that I would put out today, do you know who you really are? And quiet your mind when you ask that question and see if that answer is yes or no. Because you yourself will answer that one.
And sometimes you don't even know who you are until you take a step and see how you even react to a situation or an experience.
That's right.
From just putting yourself out there. You can think you're going to do this and that, and then all of a sudden you step out there and you just realize, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that this would happen to me, or that these kind of things would come up within me, or that this would or that would happen. And if you don't ever do it, you're never going to find those things out, those growth opportunities, or maybe those opportunities that come up are the trigger to take you in a different direction or continue down the path that you're on. You just don't ever know. But until you take that first step and go for it now, then the next one can't come to you. So you might as well just take a leap of faith. And
absolutely.
Just go for it. Take the first step, and if you take the first step and you don't like it and doesn't resonate to you, you don't have to take another one.
I have a lot of people say to me, Lee, what do you think? What do you think I should do? Well, how would I know what you should do? Now, intuitively, I could answer that question at times, because it might very well come in to say, talk about this with this person, or say this to this person. Mm-hmm. But it is not my purpose to go into their purpose. If there's any type of solution to this, I just come back and I say, well, after you go in and you have a conversation with yourself, then call me back when you've really had one with yourself. Not when you won't even take the time to do any of this. I've taken the time to do a lot in my lifetime, and I will continue taking the time to do a lot in my lifetime, because that's what I want to do, and that is the purpose. And I am always very grateful to help anybody I possibly can. But you have to get to a point that you say to that individual, it is time for you to take your own steps in your own life, and I will support you in every way that I possibly can. But you have got to go there to do this. And it's just amazing at always, I don't have enough time to do that. I say, you don't have enough time to meditate 5 minutes in the morning? You don't have enough time to even think about it when you're driving to work? Or, you don't have enough time to do any of this? Well, that's quite amazing to me, because I have enough time to do it, and I believe we all have 24/7. We don't have different time frames. So it doesn't have to do anything massive as far as taking your time. But can you not take out time to be able to love yourself, to love God, ascended masters, angels, spirit guides, all the above, all the levels above? Can you not take time to do that? Is it more important to just decide that you want to go out shopping, or decide you want to do, you need to do fun things? I'm not saying don't do that. But I believe you can take off some time to at least sit there and have a conversation with yourself and with divine beings. Because when you start doing that, it changes your whole life into greatness. Take out time if you're having back issues, if you're having any type of unclarity in your own mind. I'd recommend to go have a massage. I'll be doing that on Wednesday myself. Or if you're having back problems, I would suggest to go to a very good chiropractor or a acupuncture person. Look for that person that resonates with you. And it will be amazing what you will learn about your own self. So many people do not know their own self, and they're wanting other people to tell them who they are. And that's what I choose not to do, because you need to know who you are. And I will support who you are. Whichever way that falls out, I'll support it.
We came in to co-create with the divine. Learn about ourselves in this experience and co-create it. And it's through experience that we learn to co-create. There are people that come in here, and souls that come in, that are so clear on what they came in to do, have a purpose, they go for it, they don't even think twice about it. But I do think that's probably a pretty much rarer scenario. It does seem like there's more of us out there that it takes some time to learn, get to know ourselves in these bodies, and work through some of the density of relationships and health and things and different kinds of experiences, to get us to grow to the point to realize that each one of us have to make a choice, and it is through our own choices that we co-create our life with the divine. And you can ask other people for help, but
absolutely,
but you have to be the one to do it. You have to do your own work. You have to do your own take your own action steps to show the universe within the law of attraction and all of those operating laws that if you step out halfway, then the other is going to come to you. That's you got to step out for the other to meet you 50% back. You got to put 50% out, and then it'll meet you 50% back. And sometimes we got to learn how to focus our energies instead of being scattered. That's part of the work that has to be done. And believe me that I've had to do a lot of work with myself with that.
I have too.
With learning how to focus energies. And that's a really good, powerful thing to talk about, the energies, because everyone, it doesn't matter what your background or whatever, if you just get yourself quiet enough, you can feel energies. You can feel them through your emotions. You can feel them through all kinds of different things. If you rub your hands together really fast, I don't know if you've ever seen, any of y'all has ever seen that experiment where you just rub your hands together really fast and then hold them out and put them together and start moving them back and forth and just start noticing what you feel. Everything's energy. And the more that we tune into the subtle energies of things and are more aware, it frees us up, because there's lessons there, there's guidance there, there's subtle nudges there. For example, when you're with people, and actually this leads perfectly into the second card that fell out of the deck. And what is that? What was it? Ishtar. And yes. It was about boundaries. Do you want to read that?
Yes. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy.
Yeah, and exactly. And so when you feel the energies with somebody, let's say you're working with somebody, and I'll use me as an example, doing healing work with somebody. And actually, I'm going to use an example of basically what you said earlier, Lee. I'm working with somebody, and they're listening and all that stuff, wonderful. Then they have the opportunity to go out and put into practice maybe some gift that they received from the session. And if they come back and see me again, and they aren't learning anything, and they're coming back and doing the same thing over and over again, there's a feeling that goes along with that. The energies just don't flow anymore. And it's not a negative or anything like that. It's just that the energies don't flow anymore. And if they're not flowing, it's just doesn't work for me. And you may have something in your life which is in a significant or a similar way. You feel that the energies, maybe the movement, something's not flowing right. There's a little bit of resistance with someone that you're working with in whatever level. And maybe you need to speak up and express your boundaries, so that burden. Because, for example, I have seen people in my practice, and I'm sure that I've had these things in my life too, where people tell me things and then they may resonate, but then I don't do them, and then I procrastinate. Well, I've had clients that have done that, and I've just had to set my boundaries that if you don't meet me halfway, I can't help you anymore. It's got to be a 50-50 deal. And so it's so important when you learn to tune in more and more to these energies. You can begin to feel when there's something that's just off, that's not supporting you in co-creating your dreams and living a life of freedom that we're talking about today. So be mindful of that in your life, where you're noticing some resistance or feeling come up, and where you may need to express yourself and create a boundary so that there's room in your life to go for what you really want to go for, not an obligation. Because really what I'm talking about is kind of an obligation, because in some of those experiences I felt obligated to work with people until, as we've talked about today, learning to let go of obligations, that it has to be a win-win. And for me personally now, and I know for you, Lee, because we've talked about it so much, it's so important to work with people that are going to meet you halfway.
That's
if you're
correct.
If you're going to work on a consistent basis with somebody, they got to do.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is totally a two-way street, because the conversation is what starts opening you up. And it can be a conversation, with yourself, which normally that's what it is. You came in with exactly the way it was supposed to be, and the only thing that influences you is normally the life changes that's been created by you or someone else. And if they're created by someone else, and it's up to you to release that and to really find out what that is. I've had to go through a lot of that myself, and really come to terms with still loving that person, but letting it go, because it has to be on your terms, because energy is a very interesting thing. You can go, and we talk about it in the room. When I walk into a room, because I'm totally an energy-oriented person, I can feel it. I can feel who's done the work, who hasn't done the work. I can feel what type of mood they're in. Mm-hmm. I can, and when you go in front of an audience of a lot of thousands of people, when you on the stage and you're going to do that, we talked about that earlier today, that you have to go in with holding your own energy to the level that it is for you to be able to do the work you do, but also teaching how that they hold theirs as well. Mm-hmm. And if somebody says something to you that hurts your feelings, or you don't like what the person said on the stage, or you don't like what say Omar said, or you don't like what Frankie Avery says, whatever that it is, whatever that is, it was said because it was supposed to be. Period. It wouldn't have come otherwise. And if you're having those feelings about it, you need to look within your own self, because it's very important for you to come to terms with who you really are. And there has been so many different blankets that's been put over people for years that they have never wanted to open the crack to see the sunlight. They're always wanting to blame other people for all of their woes. They're always wanting to get into the energy is woe is me, and that is not where 2012 and today's world's at. There is a lot of people that I think will be transitioning out this year, and it's still a blessing. Everything's a blessing. Mm-hmm. And it's due to that, God don't want anybody on this earth plane or in the universe to be anything but happy. And so if there's any type of just a little bit of morsel in you that's not, you need to go deep to that one spot and say, what is keeping me in this grief in my life that I'm going to release now? And that is a wonderful feeling when it actually comes totally out and you can release it. The key is don't go back to that thought pattern again. And at times, I know Michael and myself both have gone back into the same thought pattern again. And I've gone back, I can speak for myself, on several different occasions on a topic that just keeps coming back around and circling me. But I can assure you that within the last 30 days, as far as I'm talking right today, I'm done with it. I'm totally done with it. I will put as much love as I possibly can, but I absolutely will not take the negativism anymore from anything around that energy. So I think that sometimes, I've had people say, well, my children, I've got issues with children or this and that, the other. Well, you know what? That's their energy and not yours. And, when you go into a room, say for an example, let's take an example of last night. We're over there and we're in the room with quite a lot of people. There's a way that you can switch that energy. And there could be two people, which in reality, I will talk about this. There was two people last night that I felt the energy that was, maybe not into the moment of what we were there for as far as topic-wise. But I worked within myself to get over it. I thought, oh, gosh. But I really worked within myself to get over it. And what I was doing sitting in this folding chair on the other side of the room, I was sending it across the room to give the energy to that person to wake up and blessing them and loving them and putting the thought pattern to please listen and smile, because there's a reason for that. And that's all you have to do. You never have to say a word, but just absorb it. Just absorb it. And so I put the challenge out there to all that's listening to this today. Don't accept the energy that doesn't work for you. You can go in and you can change that energy that maybe is not working for you. And you can actually send it to that person, which is a total blessing to them as well as yourself. Because you always have to have the giving and the receiving. And it works for both of you. It just totally works. I know Michael and myself was at breakfast yesterday morning with Frankie Avery, and there was something that was said yesterday morning that I can tell you that it has just changed a lot of me within one day. She said something. I asked her a question about me, and she came out with a statement that just really took me back when she said it, as far as what the destiny was and who I really am and what is helping me to get me to where I'm at and where my destiny is. And I think it was one sentence. She answered my question about what I had asked her. And I can tell you that moment of that minute has been one of the most important minutes that I've had in years, because it explained to me how my feelings were. Totally explained to me of where the gifts that I've got, where it came from, how they work, and why I am actually seeing in dream state ascended master that is speaking to me and giving me encouragement to go for the total package of my life. Now, that was the moment yesterday morning at IHOP. Having pancakes.
You never know when those moments are going to happen.
You never know when those moments are going to happen, so don't ever disregard it. Stay open to it. I'll put it back to you, Michael.
That's so beautiful. We just got a couple more minutes left on the show, but I was drawn back to a little bit of what Lee was saying earlier. And I'd like for us all to take a minute and really be honest with ourselves. It's so important in learning about ourselves to get real with it. Be so totally and completely honest with how we feel about things, even if it's crazy. I'm going to use this word because it's a pretty strong word, but everyone has schizophrenic thoughts. Everybody. Where it goes from one thing to the other and thinks about all this craziness and back and forth. Everybody's got that. Sometimes you just got to be honest with it and say, and even talk to whoever is in a form, a spirit form, if it's God, if it's an angel, your spirit guide or whatever. Just release and talk to them about these feelings and thoughts that you have. Because if you don't ever come to some form of acceptance within yourself about who you are and what things are going on within you, it doesn't mean that that's who you are. It just means on an absolute truth basis, but it means that those are things that are going on within you. And if you just hate all those things and keep pushing against with hatred or dislike or whatever it is, you're going to keep getting more of it. So you're going to keep getting more schizophrenic thoughts and crazy thoughts. Monkey brain, I think is what Lee,
that's right.
Lee
Monkey
said.
in the cage brain.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you don't take a minute and be totally honest, if you have repetitive type things. So what I'd like to do is to take a minute. And I'd like for you, if you're not in a comfortable place, just to get into your comfortable place. Get into a seat. And just take a moment to tune into your breath. The in and the out of your breath. And let's just imagine that all of the energies that you have built up today, any resistance, any fear, any whatever it is, let's just release it right now. Just imagine it being lifted out of your head, off your shoulders, off your heart, off your legs and feet, off your hips and lower back. Any burdens or burdensome energy, let's just let it go right now. And take a nice deep breath with that. I'd like to ask the masters of the universe to help us with this right now. And whoever is perfect for you, we're going to go into a sacred chamber, your own sacred place, which is right here, right now. You can imagine it as in your room, your bedroom, or on a rock in some imaginative, beautiful forest. Whatever is sacred to you, that is your sacred place. And just take a minute to connect with that sacred place within you. And once you do that, I'd like to ask the divine being to come in, and you as well, just connect with that divine being that has come to listen to you. Listen to whatever woes, judgments, criticisms that you have about yourself, and express those to this divine being. Whatever it is, express it. And just take a minute and a few breaths to express whatever that is. And as you do that, you should immediately feel lighter, because this divine being is going to take it from you and lift it away, because you have moved it out. And any time that you have one of these secrets within you that repeats itself, all you've got to do is go to this sacred, sacred place. Call your divine being, your source, whatever resonates to you, to come in and listen. And they always will. You may feel them. You may just trust that they're there. Whatever, they are there. Guaranteed. And so it is.
And so it is.
And thank you for joining us today.
I was so happy to be here today in your presence, Michael.
Well, I was so happy to be in yours too, Lee. Thank you.
And all the people out in the airways. We're so thankful whenever we can actually come in here and see how many people that tune into us every week. It's like two kids in a candy store.
Yay!
And it's just been a wonderful experience. And I will just say one more thing. We are in our sacred place now. We have found ours. And I'm wishing all of you to find yours.
Blessings to you all. And one last quick word. If you have any questions that you would like to ask us, please send us an email. Any topics that you would like for us to talk about, send us an email. lightenuptalkradio@gmail.com. Lots of love.
Lots of love. Till next time.